I found myself like just going to your site first, looking and following your stuff first, because it was, you know, the first out there is the most informative. It was just it felt very unbiased and just straightforward.
Yeah, she will tell you like it is. She was the best reporter in Baton Rouge. Let's have the best reporter on social media.
Unfiltered with Kiran is a fairly new concept. I used my 2 decades of broadcast journalism experience to start this new venture. It's simple, old school journalism with an emphasis on accuracy and compassion. It's what the public wants and deserves. We're 100% digital media, meaning if you have one of these, you have access to just about everything we have to offer. We're more than a news blog. We're a news team looking out for Southeast Louisiana. What started as a solo venture has now grown into an entire staff of journalists. We started as a website and social media news organization. We've now grown into a breaking news leader for our community, launching a news app to get notifications to our readers. Our Facebook page continues to grow month over month with more than 126,000 followers. We're also growing on Twitter and YouTube while reaching more than 30,000 on TikTok and 10,000 on Instagram. As you can see, we mean it when we say we are 100% digital media. Here's just a small glimpse of what we offered to our viewers in 2022.
I look to her for the best stories because they are always accurate and they are usually the first.
An update on that double murder.
His death is the example of that tonight.
It was the first out there is the most informative.
While it's important to be informed on the breaking and day-to-day news, we all need some inspiration.
And I'll see almost word for word from another source later on Facebook. I'm like, well, where you been? I've already known that.
When it comes to breaking news, Unfiltered with Kiran delivers quickly, but more importantly, accurately, digging deeper into the big stories. April 2022. A man stabs his girlfriend well over 70 times, killing her, all while streaming it live on social media.
Now this is the scene. This all started around 10 p.m. last night with officials responding to a vehicle that somebody tried to burn. Inside of it, they found a woman whose hands were tied up and naked. Now, officials learned earlier in the day that a Earl Johnson Jr. ended up killing a woman on a Facebook Live and then later admitted to it.
Unfiltered with Kiran and team worked their sources, confirming details far more than the basics, and posted the first report just past midnight. Unfiltered and team was already reporting on a suspect's arrest and remapping his route for the public before the alleged murder. It was much the same when 19-year-old LSU student Allie Rice was gunned down with nearly a dozen bullets as she headed home to campus, sending shockwaves throughout Baton Rouge. We were first to confirm and report an LSU student, and details that had not yet been put out.
Now, sources have confirmed that Rice was in fact waiting for a train to finish crossing on Government Street when she was shot. In fact, officials even found fast food in her lap and evidence that she was eating fries as she was shot. Multiple sources say they have not found any evidence of a robbery or an attempted robbery. For now, it does not appear that this was a mistaken identity case. Several sources have said investigators are truly at a loss to determine the motive behind this particular shooting.
In doing our part to provide the viewers a full story, we were told city officials were holding a press conference into her murder, so we showed up. Unfortunately, due to our investigative reporting of the police chief and mayor, they exclude Unfiltered from press conferences and press releases. Despite having to wait 15 minutes while officials decided whether to allow us in or not, we stood our ground and refused to leave. Eventually, we made it into the press conference. That came after earlier in the year, the Baton Rouge Police Department forced and escorted Unfiltered with Kiran to leave a public press conference in a public building, claiming we were not media. Unfiltered with Kiran prides itself on strong investigative journalism. In 2022, we brought to light a Baton Rouge police officer who was arrested for alleged sexual harassment of a teenager he pulled over one night.
And he said, well, listen, I can, take you to jail for a DWI, but I'm not because you're pretty. Mr. Steele kissed my client without her consent. Mr. Steele touched my client without her consent. Mr. Steele exchanged phone numbers with my client without her consent.
Steele was arrested and charged with 2 felonies, second-degree kidnapping and malfeasance in office, plus a misdemeanor, sexual battery. Should a police officer be on administrative leave for an entire year? That is the question when it comes to Baton Rouge police officer Donald Steele. And is he legally receiving a supplemental pay monthly, $500?
As far as this admin leave, this is unprecedented in my experience to have somebody on admin leave for essentially a year.
We discovered the officer, police chief, and the second in command at the police department were all members of the same fraternity. The day after our report, the district attorney assigned the lead criminal prosecutor to the officer's case. Within a matter of weeks, the case went before a grand jury. The officer was indicted and eventually fired.
And now we have an indictment. And so I think we had very few cases, maybe with him at this point, but he surely is on the list. And with the indictment today for second-degree kidnapping, malfeasance in office, serious charges, serious allegations, and just really want to commend the survivor in this case. Absolutely, I have no doubt that the chief, now knowing that the grand jury's returned what they returned, will take action based on this grand jury return. I have no doubt whatsoever.
We've also investigated the city's highest elected officials when Baton Rouge's mayor introduced a citywide stormwater drainage fee.
Why was the public and the council being led to believe that there was a non-disclosure in place, preventing everybody basically from telling the public about a fee that they would have to pay for, thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars? Andy Dotson, the parish attorney, pretty much said repeatedly that it was Federal Article 408 keeping him from disclosing details.
It's stamped as such at the top, stating that it should not be released pursuant to Federal Code of Evidence, Article 408.
But 2 federal agencies, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, and the United States Department of Justice, or DOJ, both told Congressman Garrett Graves they did not require anything be kept confidential.
They made it crystal clear to us there is no non-disclosure agreement required by the federal agencies.
I do think that the NDA was designed to conceal information and keep secret certain things. I think the public has the right to have that question that you're posing. Why was this done? Answered. Because what it is it demolishes and destroys transparency, right?
The transparency is not there. The trust between the public and public officials is not there. There's trust that's been taken away between the council and the administration's office. All that does irreparable harm in what we need to do.
Thanks to our reporting, the fee was taken off the council agenda and 3 people quit their government jobs over the fallout. More importantly, we brought to light the alleged lies by top city officials, including the mayor, to voters. We are not afraid to hold officials accountable, like a local public schools superintendent who refused to acknowledge bus drivers working additional hours to pick up routes.
And what do they on average make in Livingston Parish?
Answer that, I don't know that right off the top of my head.
You're the superintendent, you don't know what the bus drivers are making?
I got 4,000 employees. Do you know what everybody's making?
I don't have 4,000 employees. Okay, what about your salary? Do you know how much that is?
Yeah.
It's public, so what is it then?
Yeah, 138.
Okay. You're making 6 figures, and these bus drivers are making much less and not getting compensated when they're working extra hours. You don't think that's a problem?
We're also a voice for the voiceless. Our in-depth coverage of toddlers dying from fentanyl, all while under the care of the Department of Child and Family Services, led to resignations and changes. In one specific overdose case, doctors actually told DCFS that the child had already overdosed twice earlier in the year, and as recently as 9 days prior to his death.
So that is why that information was relayed back to DCFS on June the 17th. Now, what actually came of that information? Was a report written? We don't know. 9 days later, June 26th, that baby died.
Legislative hearings were launched into the department, as well as reviews of DCFS, and eventually, the department's top position. The head of the Department of Children and Family Services resigned after our reporting. And we exclusively highlighted a paramedic who claimed he was a doctor, when in reality, he forged his own match letter for residency and had never even gone to medical school. He was openly working in a Baton Rouge hospital and treating patients. He has since been terminated, and a federal agency is now investigating.
For hard news, it's the best source around.
Aside from breaking news and investigations, we do cover the day-to-day news, once again leading the market.
You killed my grandson!
A 3-year-old was asleep in his own bed in his home when one stray bullet hit him in the head.
This is the bullet hole. Take a look at this. It is only one bullet, but unfortunately, this is the one shot that ended up going through the window. This is the room where little Devin was asleep. Devin Page Jr. was asleep. But I want to show you, this was actually a stray bullet. This was not meant for here. Come walk with us. This is the house next door. This is where all the shots were supposed to go, at least that they were trying. This is a car that we were told was shot up.
Unfiltered was first to piece together a missing mother and toddler had been found. The mother's body wrapped in a blanket in a ditch, while her son was tossed off of a bridge alive and crying, but died from the cold weather a few days later. When East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Deputy Nick Toulier died 6 years after the deadly ambush in Baton Rouge, Unfiltered with Kiran was the only media outlet allowed to stream the funeral services.
Thank you, Sergeant Toulier, for your prayer line, your courage, your heroic effort, and for many years of service. The dedication to his family, his friends, and to me will never be forgotten.
At Unfiltered with Kiran, we're more than breaking news and investigations. We pride ourselves in telling real stories about real people. We have an entire section dedicated to victims' voices, where victims share their experiences and open up about how they were victimized. We give them the platform to tell their stories. And we're able to be in-depth thanks to our audience. Communicating with them through Facebook and Instagram is integral to what we do and how we do it.
It's the best site to know what's going on in Baton Rouge.
I think we're all very concerned about what's going on in Baton Rouge right now. But I also like the human interest stories too, the ones that let you know that there's still good people out there that are willing to help people and do things for people. And I've told her she does a good job of balancing those two out.
We also know there's more to Southeast Louisiana than crime and bad news. That's why we make it a priority to highlight the amazing people that make Louisiana home. When a father reached out to us, hoping to fulfill his dying daughter's last wish, we took his story to all our platforms. A local theater manager saw our story and made calls to Universal Pictures and granted the father's wish to be able to watch the new Minions movie in their home because their daughter was bedridden and could not leave. Her smile alone gave the public all the reasons to smile along with her.
I was like, oh my God. I couldn't stop. And the biggest smile on my face, and I haven't smiled too much recently because I'm, like this. This moment means everything to me because I'm short-lived. I don't have much time left.
At Christmas, we tagged along with a group eating at a restaurant to leave a waitress a very large tip as her gift.
So we have $1,000, actually more than $1,000 for you, and this is your Christmas present. Okay, and here's the bill. You want to take care of that for her?
I got you.
The money's in there for that, and here's your tip.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that so much.
Always been a fan of the work that you do and the journalism that you do. It felt very unbiased and just straightforward, and so it was something that I just wanted to get behind and support.
In fact, seeing the good we highlight was the reason a local law firm, Dudley DeBosier, reached out asking to partner with us to highlight the people making a difference in our community. It's why we launched a series called Difference Makers. And monthly, we surprise someone the public nominates as truly making a difference for Baton Rouge.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
You must be Katie.
I am. What's happening?
I'm Stevie DeBosier, Dudley DeBosier.
Okay.
We're here to celebrate you.
Oh, okay.
Because you've done so many cool things, and this is part of our Dudley DeBoyer Difference Makers.
Oh, okay.
You're making a great difference in our community, so we wanted to come thank you with some great gifts.
We also showcase a nonprofit monthly to keep with the series brand.
And so for you to be able to highlight the people out in the community that are making a difference, that are making our community better, is a cool thing. And so if we could work together for you to find them, for you to identify them, to help us, and we can show the community what a great job they're doing through you, that's a great partnership.
The difference makers sometimes can get overlooked, and so it's awesome to cheer them on, to recognize them, to give them praise, and to highlight what they're doing.
The amazing relationship and trust we have with our community was clear when they pulled together and helped us load an 18-wheeler with supplies for those who lost everything to a hurricane in South Louisiana. The entire concept started on social media. Someone donated an 18-wheeler. Hundreds of people and companies helped fill it up and even drive all the supplies to those affected. Again, all coordinated through social media. We also collected over $12,000 in cash using every single penny, and then personally delivered to those who had no car, homes, or anything left. This is Louisiana, truly taking care of our own neighbors.
People trust her and love her and need her. It upsets her because she can't do for all. You know, so much comes in.
We are blessed to have the public support and trust, and we have a lot to celebrate. Unfiltered with Kiran won its first ever National Edward R. Murrow last year and a Suncoast Emmy. Our concept of digital news and truthful investigative reporting was noticed by the International Union of Police Associations, awarding us for consistent and accurately reporting. Plus, 225 magazine recognized us as the best TV news personality.
She does what she loves. And when you do what you love, that makes it's not a job.
We hope to continue delivering the highest quality of journalism to our viewers. After all, it is the news you deserve, unfiltered.